G'day guys, today I'm going to break down a video clip that I filmed and produced here with Tony Jacobsen for Jacobsen Svart and also for Svart Media. I'm just going to walk through some of the methods, some of the madness, some of the planning, and just a little bit of the storytelling aspect of it as well. So without further ado, let's go jump into DaVinci Resolve right here, right now, and yeah, we're going to get begun. So before anything, I would suggest grabbing yourself a cup of coffee and yeah, just enjoying some of this simple breakdown of some amazing content that Tony and myself captured. What I'll do is I'll leave a link below. You can also check out on the Svart Media YouTube page, as well as the Jacobsen Svart YouTube page to see that content. So for this video clip, I had envisioned creating something very representative of Tony and the person who he is, what he represents, and what he does in terms of producing coffee beans. He's not just a coffee bean roaster, he's also a philosopher, a lover of all these crazy esoteric things. And I've had the pleasure of getting to know Tony over the last couple of years now. When I have certain interactions with people, sometimes I get a deeper insight because I like to spend time with the people. I like to see how they operate and work. I saw this vision quite some time ago, and I was like, okay, I really want to. I really want to bring this to life. I really want to encapsulate the philosophy, the tone. I want to capture the vibe, and it took me a little while to put this together. And actually, initially, it was meant this was kind of just going to be some auxiliary scenes that were going to be put into the greater Jacobsen Svart coffee company's promotional video. And the promotional video has different aspects to it by connecting to community and philosophy and all that kind of stuff. However, with this video with Tony, it developed into something a little bit more for me and for him too. And I thought, okay, why not just talk about the spirituality behind it? Why not emphasize that this is something that's very special to him and something very special also to me. Before the breakdown, I do encourage you guys to watch it because I'm not going to go through this video with the audio on. I'm just going to go and break down scene by scene and talk a little bit about how I put it together, sort of what was storyboarded, and then what was kind of like a bit spontaneous in the moment. And something like this is want of a storyboard because it's good to give yourself a bit of structure before shooting, especially when you're shooting solo. Because I was directing and shooting it by myself, and of course there was no dialogue or anything here, so I didn't need to capture any audio. It was just strictly cinematic shots, so to speak, here. So I was focusing very much on composition and what can best complement Tony in his cabin here in the middle of Norway, and how I can bring that philosophical message across from my visual storytelling, and yeah, how just to bring it together in an artistic way. So let's jump straight into it. So as you can see here, Tony's just sitting on his tabletop here, writing some stuff in his notebook. So the whole idea was to begin the story with him at the cabin. He's putting some ideas down, and I wanted to get some of those elements from outside, and also that kind of nice cabin relaxed vibe on the inside. And you know, you got to see some of the small elements here, like yeah, the candles and just the warm tones of the wood inside the cabin, and Tony being silhouetted here, a little bit of wrap around just to expose his face a little bit, and yeah, you get the picture there. So the story goes on, and it jumps into the next part where Tony is heading down to the stream with his little kettle to go and get some water. And I wanted to show off kind of the area here and actually how he runs his day-to-day life. So I wanted to be as true to the situation as possible. Again, of course, when you script things, it's a little bit staged, but I still wanted to have that natural documentary element feel to it. So this scene here, everything is very, very, of course, natural lighting. I didn't do any extra lighting. It was fairly overcast, so we had neutral lighting. And yeah, it worked well for these scenes. So this particular scene, of course, I wanted to capture the kettle being filled up with the water stream here. And then, of course, the little journey where Tony heads back to the cabin. So these scenes here, initially I thought, okay, I could do like a walk through with him, but I thought that was going to take up too much time in terms of the filming, and also just like trying to get it on point, and also with the difficulty of the landscape that's there, because then I'd be tripping over. I didn't have any gimbal support or anything like that, so I tried to give it that static shot feeling. So find my composition and then let Tony move throughout the composition, and actually that worked really well for me in the end here, because I found these really lovely compositions, as you see here, traveling through, cut to another angle, and then just let Tony walk up into the cabin. So that's pretty much yeah, that's pretty much the walkthrough there. Of course, a nice welcoming shot there. It's very Tony. This shot here inside of the kitchen, I love the warm tones of it, because this is still very naturalistic, using the halogen light to set the room tone. And yeah, I was just working with the space here. I found that the space was so nice to work with, because it had that wooden tones. It sucked up a lot of the light, so you can get these really dramatic contrasts. Of course, the kettle on the boil, still sticking within the narrative here. And then as the kettle is boiling, Tony has gone back to his note writing here. And he's writing down some of his reflections upon life, and he's also writing some stuff towards his new book that he's going to get begun this year. So I'll just tease that one in the initial. Those who know will know. Again, working with the natural lighting here. I was really fortunate to have this overcast day, because it made everything really nice and soft. However, some parts of me think it would be really cool if I had some sunshine, direct sunshine coming right through those windows there. It just would have made everything feel much more alive. But in this sense, you know what? It was rainy, overcast. It gave that vibe as well. Not the melancholy vibe, but more of that kind of relaxed, smooth, calm vibe here. So this is the over-the-shoulder shot. Of course, you can see here with a little bit of his profile there visible. And when I was filming it, I was shot everything on 28mm, and just had a really nice polarizer filter on the front of the lens, just to cut off some reflections and just add a little bit more depth, and so you can see a bit more of that resolution. Thinking of compositions in the room, like how are we connecting the story to the space and everything, and Tony has his space all set up for him, and how it suits him and how it feels for him. So this little Buddha was a great representation. Now we're getting into some of the coffee shots. So again, using the available light that we have I really touched nothing. I really played with just exposure compensation with the iris, and just let the natural light dictate how the picture was going to look. So very naturalistic lighting. Compositions here, just following the process. We get to see coffee brewing in the beginning. This shot here was on my list of things to get, because I loved that the fireplace, the wood right next to it, and the fact that Tony had just naturally put his boots there to dry. It was just one of these perfect scenes where it's so real, and the natural light that's coming in provided that really nice just shine on these elements, and still getting the warm glow of the burning wood there. No, I really enjoyed this shot. It was a fun one. Getting some close-up details here of the water absorbing in the coffee. Jumping to a few scenes here. Roaring fire now. Coffee's ready. Fire's warm. Let's get going. Now this angle here, I always love these shots. These big soft window lights. You get that nice gradient and nice intensity shooting towards the shadows here. We've got nice angles going on. These are some of my favorite shots throughout the production. Very simple, you know. I wanted to get backlight of the steam from the coffee. Make sure it is as natural as possible. Now, of course, this is jumping the line. This is one of these things in the film industry that some people do. And I believe that I can cheat with this one because it's taking it out of context of being in the room. And because we're looking through a window, so we're literally jumping the line. However, in this particular decision, I wanted to make sure that we had reflections of the trees and the windows. I used the polarizer to cut through to the window so we can actually see Tony in the composition, but still leaving on the other window these nice color reflections, just adding a little bit of interest throughout the image. Now we're back again over the line. And this time including a lot more elements of the room. On the other side, there was a sofa and stuff like that, so I decided just to stick with this particular composition, because in the background there with the light, or the windows there, that's where the kitchen is. And just here in the background, you've got the little elements of interest kind of piercing through those deep, dark shadows, and the fireplace just giving that warmth. There's that really cozy vibe, and then in the kitchen again, shooting through, we get a little bit more depth. So I'm trying to work with the light composition there. I think the only thing that I would pick up on a critique in this image is that there is a lot of black negative space, or so that wall that's really blank there. So that's the only thing that I would kind of pick out there, that has maybe left that space a bit empty. I could have put the Buddha more in there, but coulda, woulda, shoulda, but didn't, as we say in Australia. However, I really liked the kind of composition here. The composition was really nice. That contemplation look. This is one of my favorite shots. I mean, every shot is probably one of my favorite shots throughout this thing. I tried to capture what I was seeing in my head as best as possible in this narrative sense. Again, over the shoulder shot. Still on that 28mm. I only used the 28mm throughout this production. So you can see there, you just get this lovely depth. You've got the light from the outside, a little bit of the dark, the light on his face, and then going into dark again. It's just this kind of composition, really tight shot. I know a lot of people don't particularly favor these shots, but me personally, I do like a good close up composition, especially on faces and stuff like that. And again, like I said, depending on who you're working with, people don't like those extreme close ups of the faces because they get self conscious with how it looks or how their face looks or how the skin looks or whatever. I get it. I understand. Uh, However, looking from a very artistic perspective, these shots here, they just fill out the sensor and you just get this really beautiful soft rendition. Again, outstanding shot here. This one too, like I've done a shot like this. I've done several shots like this in the past where it's kind of like, you've got that big source backlight, you've got that light dark kind of mixture. This is kind of one of those shots where you've got to get it right, and I think I got it right here. Again, trying to fill out the composition, the frame as best as I can with the situation that I have, using the polarizer over the lens, just to get that nice little slash of black so you can see Tony pop through that composition. Now, of course, he's not sitting at the table anymore, but that didn't fit the composition, and I wanted to artistically show that he's there, he's in that reflective state, he's looking at nature, he's in the nature, and he's really enjoying that kind of alone time. So this is where that composition meets the storytelling of this aspect here. So we'll just jump to this one here where Tony is filling up the cup. Now this movement here, I really like this one because it came across as supernatural. And I do love it when shots feel natural. Like it was just in the moment, and it really was. I just did one take. I feel like Tony was just like, here, take this. And I was able to really play with it at the moment and rack the focus, hand focus. So as he is pouring here, naturally just passes it over to me, and then look at that. And I was able to perfectly focus on it from this, still with the elements going on in the background of interest there. When you see it, when the movie actually plays, when you go and watch it, you just see how naturally it goes over, and just these one shot wonders that like get me all excited in the creative process here. These are the shots that I like. Go, oh my god! It's for the average person. The people just don't even really think about it. They go, oh yeah, that's nice. But for me, in the moment of that interaction, in that moment of creation, this just came over naturally, and it landed right there, and I was able to go boom, right on focus, on point, and fill out the screen. You get the details of the cup, the light coming from the windows exposed it properly, and you've got all these little bits of interest all over the place, even the details in the table. Like again, you can see that I'm getting excited about this stuff because these are details that make kind of that cinematic experience, that expression through motion picture. And I encourage everybody to get excited about this. Like this is not special just to me. I happen to live through that moment. I get the honor of capturing that, yes. But here, these kind of compositions, these leading lines and all, yeah, of course I sat there, I lined up the moment, and I just let it roll. I let it roll naturally. And look what I was rewarded with. And of course, we've got the hero shot here with Tony. Again, we had that beautiful diffused, overcast, rainy weather, and it was just super easy to get Tony out there in the elements and let him look whimsically into the distance as the advert finishes. So this represents Mr. Tony Jacobsen. Here he's got his colours on there that represent that kind of what would say? I think this was around this was autumn time. So there we go. He's got his little autumn colours going on there. And then there's not much to say about the end here. Just some of the title stuff. So I wanted to also shout out to Joa for a really amazing audio production for this. Joe deserves massive praise for encapsulating the vibe and helping fix the audio so it all was balanced for this production. And of course, Tony Jacobsen, after a little bit of direction, talking with him, walking through with him how to present it and how long it would be, because this video is about 3.5 minutes long, and this script was intended to get everything that Tony wanted to say out in one video. I come from this kind of documentary storytelling background. When I was growing up as a kid, I always loved the storytelling, and my son also loves the storytelling aspect. And I think this is the major fascination here. It's the storytelling not only in the sense of audibly, verbally, but also encapsulating it visually. And this is one thing that I've been really focusing on since, well, it's over 10 years now that I've been working on this and thinking, how can I get the best composition, use the available light, or I can add some light, of course. I sometimes use things like this, like little pavo tubes, or the lights that I'm actually using in here to help express the light or the mood in a room, sometimes even negative fill. I've got a floppy over there to suck in the light. However, I'm going to go back to one of these compositions here, using the available light that you've got and also working with the composition in the room that you're in can really add to that contrast, add to that depth that we're trying to get here, add to the thickness of that digital negative. And I, for one, am always like blown away when I get into the focus, get into the mode. I look at the space. Of course, before filming, it's always best to go and check out the space beforehand. However, this was not. This was like, let's go and film. We've got an opportunity to do it, and to actually get this filmed. I think it took about a year, maybe 8 months to a year, for us to actually synchronize and find the right time to do it. And it was just magical. And these are the things that I absolutely love. So I'm just going to switch back over to full frame. So the moral of the story is that I want to encourage all you creatives out there just to go and shoot a story. Whether it's just still photography, go grab a couple of stills, people in their environment, your friends, your family, somebody who's got a passion. And if it's professional and you can get them to do that for you and pose and all that kind of stuff, awesome. To experiment in this way and just to get enthusiastic about it and work with the person, work with the subject or subjects, because this is where that creative collaboration starts to build together, and you get more enthusiastic. You break the ice a lot easier. You're there to encapsulate them and see through their story and vision, and bring that to life, whether it is photo or video. Now, of course, a lot of people are going to say to me, "It's like, oh, Pat, I only have a DSLR." Okay, so what? So what? You grab one of these guys. It doesn't need to be one of these in particular, but these have got video mode. You just put it to 1080p and put it on a tripod. Most of the time, in the beginning, it's best just to have a tripod and get locked off shots, because that way, then you'll be able to control that composition a lot easier, and then it will be more stable. Because when you're filming with something like this, you get those micro jitters and it doesn't look so good. And sometimes with certain cameras, they get the jello effect and it isn't good. But if you're going to do it with a dedicated video camera or cinema camera, there's so many options out there now that you could just save up for a couple of months and buy a secondhand cinema camera for really not much these days. And I mean, the focus on high resolution in cameras and all that kind of stuff, I would say just forget it. Have a look at buying like a secondhand 4K camera, not even. I mean, you can get away with one like a 2K 1080p camera and still get fantastic videos. Again, if you learn how to expose better, and if you invest your money more in the lenses, and even that's not so important. Get yourself a half decent f4 lens, a good second-hand, once expensive 1080p camera, but like now you can pick it up for a bag of chips. Some people might even be giving it away. You never know. Um, and then learn the lighting technique. And I think that's also another thing, is to learn to use the natural light first in a documentary setting or just even composition setting. Get yourself like a little reflector or some tin foil, or buy yourself these inexpensive little lights. They really do make the difference. You don't need to spend a lot of money to create a premium looking image. You just need to spend that time and the vision. Plan it if you will. Grab some mood board stuff and just throw them together and see what you can create. Because, of course, me starting a lot longer with just photography and the creative arts in general, I had so many years to trial and error, fail, make mistakes, screw up productions, to eventually come into a place where I feel confident and comfortable in what I do, and then be able to express that just by going, okay, put the camera here, put the light here, put a neg here, and then let's go. Let's see what we can create. And again, it's easy for me to say that from my position right now because I've got the experience. However, the enthusiasm and not worrying so much about the result right now, and just doing it, because over time you'll get better and better and better and better and better as you keep on creating, and then you will eventually see things that you like more, or you inspire to create, and you go, hey, look, I like that big image, I like that super sharp image, oh, hang on a sec, I love that expressive mashed up glass look, or something dirty, like, depending on what you're inspired by in the moment, it is all possible. And everything is available right now. That's it. That's the bottom line. We have access to some of the greatest technologies for capturing and creating art today, 2026. No excuses. This is what we have. We have it here. We have it at our disposal. God, like, man, just even borrow it if you have to. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.